Preliminary fuel tank pressurization started.
T-minus 1 minute on my mark. Mark.
Now under a minute from Antares liftoff from the Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. All systems go, the range clear, everything looking good.
T-minus 30 seconds. Mark.
Now under 30 seconds, stand by for that first ignition. The two main engines on the first stage will be igniting.
T-minus 10 seconds.
CBC slew test initiated.
Mark.
And 10 seconds to launch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have ignition.
And we have liftoff of Antares for the Orb-2 mission from the Wallops Flight Facility, delivering Cygnus on its second commercial resupply service to the International Space Station.
Antares off the pad. The SS Janus Voss on its way with the Orbital 2 science research supply mission to the International Space Station.
TVC nominal. Attitude is nominal during flyout. Core pressures are nominal in the commodity tanks. We're at 108% power. Throttle back to 104%. Engines are nominal. Attitude is nominal. TVC performance is nominal.
Getting good first stage performance.
The Antares Orb-2 mission.
And the first stage will fire for just about 4 minutes into flight.
Attitude is nominal. Engines remain nominal. Power is nominal on our power buses, electrical power buses. Hydraulic TVC performance is good. We're at 20,000.
Two first stage engines firing successfully, carrying Antares through the clouds.
Attitude is nominal. Core pressures are nominal. We're adding helium into the ullage volume of the pressure-in tanks to keep them up to pressure. Passing through max Q now. Attitude is nominal. Engine performance is nominal on the AJ26 engine. TVC performance is nominal.
Right now we're switching to a launch animation. The rocket itself lost in view through the clouds, continuing to perform nominally though, as expected.
Engine still at 100%. Engines are nominal.
Coming up on 2 minutes since launch.
We're 115 seconds into the mission. We're roughly 2 minutes from MECO. Core pressures are nominal.
MECO, the main engine cut off, the end of the stage 1 flight into orbit.
Attitude is nominal. Altitude is 100,000 feet. Engine performance is nominal. Avionics power is nominal. Attitude is good. Core pressures are good. And TVCs are tracking very well. Very small steering commands on the engines today. Overall, Antares performance is green.
Coming up now on 2 minutes, 50 seconds since liftoff. Just about 1 more minute until stage 1 shutdown.
Attitude is nominal.
Just a few seconds after shutdown, stage 1 will separate.
We're 1 minute to MECO. Engine performance is nominal to date. Attitude is nominal. Altitude 200,000 feet. And LOX tank is getting additional valves open to continue the pressurization sequence. All is good. Attitude is nominal. We're about 30 seconds to MECO. We have started throttle down of the engines to keep the axial acceleration below limits. TVC slew maneuver started. Attitude is nominal. Altitude 300,000 feet. And we're coming up on MECO. Pressures are good. Engines at 58% thrust. And we have MECO.
Stage 1 throttling down, main engine cut off.
PSS disabled. We have stage 1 separation.
In stage 1 separation confirmed, the two main engines doing their job successfully.
Coast period here before we will separate the fairing.
At this point, the rocket traveling well over 9,000 miles an hour.
Coast period. Okay, closed loop guidance has engaged. Stage 2 ignition time is 3:39 mission time. We're currently at 275. So another minute. Okay, and
so under a minute now from the solid second stage rocket igniting,
nominal performance
continuing to carry Cygnus into orbit.
Velocity is at 19,525 feet per second, which is right in the box. Altitude is 150 kilometers. Antares is coasting between stage 1 and stage 2 burns. When we get up to a higher altitude, we will separate the fairing and the interstage. Avionics power is nominal on the power buses. Antares performance is green. Pegasus, Antares continues to coast. Wrong rocket there. Attitude is nominal during the coast period.
So at this point, fairing separation coming.
And now we have interstage separation. We're preparing for the stage 2 ignition. And we have positive confirmation of stage 2 ignition. Antares is thrusting to put Cygnus into orbit. I'm taking some telemetry here. It's in the center here. Battery voltage is good. Attitude is nominal during stage 2 burn.
The rocket at this point, our Cygnus, over 116 statute miles in altitude.
Avionics power is nominal. Attitude is nominal. Altitude 180 kilometers. Antares performance nominal under stage 2 burn.
The stage 2 engine will raise the altitude into its initial orbital insertion of just around 160 statute miles.
Stage 2 performance is good.
Everything continuing to go as planned, the rocket and the cargo craft looking good.
Attitude is nominal. We see some ACS firings to control the roll axis. Pitch and yaw are controlled by the thrust vector controller. Altitude is 190 kilometers. Attitude is nominal. Okay, we're roughly a minute from burnout. Attitude is nominal. Altitude 195 kilometers.
So the second stage, as you can hear, continuing to raise Cygnus into a higher and higher orbit.
Getting good usable data. Attitude is nominal. Antares performance is green under stage 2 burn. Avionics power is nominal. And we have stage 2 tail off and burnout.
So the second stage finishing up its job. Vehicle now orient itself for payload separation.
We will settle rates and point the Cygnus in preparation for the separation of the Cygnus.
LC, DPM, countdown 1.
Standby DPM. DPM may be on countdown 2.
And Antares performance is nominal. And cold gas ACS is being used to point the Antares upper stack in preparation for Cygnus separation. Avionics power is nominal.
That separation anticipated to come just a little over a minute from now, Following separation, it'll be at an altitude of about 154 statute miles. At that point, it'll begin to deploy the solar arrays and do all the initial on-orbit checkouts.
Attitude is nominal. We're achieving the attitude in preparation for separation. Antares status is green. Orbit achieved, looks very good. We're just standing by for separation of the Cygnus from the upper stage of the Antares. Approximately 30 seconds to separation. Avionics power buses look strong. And we're receiving telemetry data through the Bermuda tracking station and relayed here to the Wallops Control Center. Roughly 10 seconds to separation. Attitude is nominal. And we have Cygnus spacecraft separation. And we are beginning the collision examination avoidance maneuver using the cold gas ACS.
A couple of claps there from the Wallops Range Control Center confirming Cygnus has separated successfully, is in its initial orbit. Here you can see a quick animation, the second stage performing as expected. Cygnus separating in its initial orbit now of about 154 statute miles, traveling at a speed of over 16,700 miles an hour.
Very good orbit achieved today, 191 by 284 kilometers. Inclination is right on the money at 51.64 degrees. And good luck to our Cygnus partners in rendezvous with the ISS.
Okay, launch team LC on countdown 1. Be advised, we're going to continue to run with our post-launch checklist here in the LCC. Maintain net protocol until we have all stations released. And site control, LC.
LC site control.
And with that, a flawless 10-minute ride to orbit on the back of the Antares rocket, carrying Cygnus into its initial orbit. The SS Janus Voss now well on its way towards the International Space Station with over 3,300 pounds of supplies for the Expedition 40 crew. All indications pointing to fantastic, perfect execution by the first and second stages. The fairing separating successfully from the rocket and revealing Cygnus to the vacuum of space.
Ops 1 LC, you go to deactivate arm enable and verify.
LC Ops 1, arm enable deactivated.
And Ops 1, can you disable local launch enable button at the failsafe panel and verify local indicators extinguished?
Ops 1, launch enable removed.
Roger that. Check 404 and 405. Core 1 LC, countdown. And GSO step 4 is 6. You go to disable local launch enable button at the failsafe panel. Verify
LC,
local indicator is extinguished. Stand by, Core 1.
Got
LCGSO on countdown 1. Would you repeat, please?
Yeah, step 4 is 6. Disable local launch enable button at the failsafe panel. Verify local indicators extinguished.
Launch enable button is extinguished.
Copy that. Check 406. And Core 1 LC steps 402 and 403 direct use NOIA to power off their MS and FMS GE equipment.
in work.
Copy and work.
So now the flight control team going through their final launch checklist. The next major thing on board on the list for Cygnus will be the deployment of the solar arrays which power the vehicle throughout its 3-day rendezvous with the International Space Station.
Ground Mach, external power off.
Check 408. OrbTM, report when telemetry lock's been lost at the DCOM for avionics, MC, and stage 1 streams.
LC OrbTM, the lock has been lost. Archive stopped.
Copy that. And so you can stop telemetry archive at the TCOM. DCOM will check 409 and 410. In OrbTM, you can stop LCT telemetry, the DTS distributor logging, and you can stop G2 telemetry recording.
Copy that. Recorder stopped.
And logging stopped?
And logging stopped.
Copy that. Ops 2, report the power supply volts and currents in step 413.
Vic power supply 18, voltage is 29.97, current is 0. Vic power supply 19, voltage is 28.99, current is 1.14. Vic power supply 22, voltage is 27.98, current is 2.31.
And Ops 2, can I get a read back on power supply 18 voltage?
Voltage is 29.97.
And I copy that read back. We'll check 413. And Ops 2, you can power off the lithium-ion battery monitor power at this time?
It's already been powered down.
Okay, roger that. Check 414.
So the first solar array on Cygnus has been deployed, standing by for confirmation of the second.
If indication not as expected.
Yeah, LC Ops 1. All SNAs.
So again, one of two solar arrays on the Cygnus craft has been deployed at this point, standing by for confirmation of the second. So again, standing by for confirmation of the second solar array's deployment on board Cygnus, the first being done successfully. Everything going as expected by the book with this launch and deployment of the cargo craft today. Spirits high there at the Wallops Launch and Range Control Center out at the flight facility in Virginia. And Terry's getting the vehicle up there without a hitch. The team's battling some weather throughout the week and a few technical issues, but everything going as expected today, not tracking any issues. The vehicle in its initial orbit. So still standing by for that confirmation. It can typically take about 20 minutes for the solar arrays to get deployed successfully following orbital insertion. The vehicle will be executing a number of DV or delta velocity burns over the next few days. These done to raise Cygnus's orbit incrementally as it races around and catches up to the International Space Station. again, continuing to stand by for that confirmation that both solar arrays have been deployed. The orbital team's in the final steps of locking in the secondary array, the primary already locked in and in place. Cygnus will prepare itself for a number of delta velocity burns to raise its orbit and catch up with the International Space Station over the next few days. Once it arrives, it'll be captured by the crew on board the International Space Station using the space station's robotic remote manipulator system, the robotic arm, also known as Canadarm2. Steve Swanson will be at the helm, being backed up by Alexander Gerst. Once the spacecraft arrives and they do a final go, no-go, once it's about 39 feet or so away from the International Space Station, they'll reach out with that robotic arm to grapple with the Cygnus cargo craft. They'll be operating from the station's cupola, which gives the best view of these visiting vehicles and the robotic operations. Once they're able to reach out and grapple with it, they'll then hand over the reins to the teams down here in Mission Control Houston, who will be responsible for maneuvering the vehicle into its final spot. You just saw a quick view of the cupola there, but Cygnus will be docked to the Earth-facing side of the Harmony module, and that final berthing activity will be done by controllers here in Mission Control Houston. And we'll have all of our coverage times for that a little bit later towards the end of today's launch broadcast.